Hi everybody, Paul here. Today I'm going to show you how to do an automatic transmission flush, which will remove most of the old transmission fluid. This will result in less wear on the components and make the transmission last longer. The method that I'm about to show you is the most gentle, safest, and easiest to do because you're using the transmission to circulate the fluid under the same pressure and in the same direction of normal flow. Whereas most repair shops will use a high-pressure machine which can blow out seals and circulate debris. They may also backflush or circulate the fluid in the opposite direction of normal flow, which can also cause problems. This job will require working underneath the vehicle, so be sure to follow all safety precautions. When it comes to replacing automatic transmission fluid, what most people will do is simply drain the transmission pan and fill it back up with new transmission fluid. The problem is, this leaves over half of the old transmission fluid in the system, particularly in the torque converter. Let's see how to perform an automatic transmission flush, which will remove most of the old transmission fluid. The first thing to do is remove the drain plug from the transmission drain pan and let as much drain as possible. Be sure to collect all of the old transmission fluid and dispose of it properly. A lot of auto parts stores will take any kind of used petroleum at no cost. Once it's drained, reinstall the drain plug and tighten it. You may also need to remove the drain pan if it has a removable filter. This particular transmission does not have a removable filter, but instead uses a metal screen, which is good for the life of the vehicle. Next, remove the automatic transmission dipstick or cap and install a funnel into the filler tube or opening and add new transmission fluid. The big caveat here is to put the same amount back in that you just drained out so that it's back up to the full level. As you can see here, per the maintenance manual for this 2006 Toyota Camry, the transmission requires 3.7 quarts for a drain and refill, so that's how much I'll need to put back in. If you do not have this information for your vehicle, then you'll have to measure how much was drained out so you can put the same amount back in. You'll also need to know the total amount of fluid that the transmission holds. This holds 9.3 quarts, so I'll need at least 10 quarts of new fluid to complete this job. Now add 3.7 quarts of new fluid back in. Once the proper amount of fluid has been added back into the transmission, you'll need to locate the two transmission cooler lines. These cooler lines circulate transmission fluid through the transmission cooler, which is located inside the radiator to help keep the fluid cool when the vehicle is running. The two cooler lines on this vehicle are located here and here. When this particular vehicle is running, the fluid comes out of this cooler line from the transmission, goes through the transmission cooler inside the radiator, comes back out of the transmission cooler, and goes back into the transmission through this cooler line. The end of this cooler line is where it needs to be removed to perform the flush so that the old fluid is removed from the transmission cooler as well. You'll need to know on your specific vehicle which direction the fluid moves through the cooler lines. This will determine which cooler line to remove so that all of the old fluid is also removed from the transmission cooler when performing the flush. If you do not know which cooler line to use, then simply remove one of the two cooler lines and start the vehicle up for just a few seconds, which will start pumping out fluid and tell you which direction it's moving. Be sure to have something to catch the old fluid when it comes out. Now I'll remove the cooler line. First I'll remove the clamp. This flexible cooler line was made long enough so that I can run the end through to the underside of the vehicle, which makes it a lot easier to perform a flush. Again, be sure to have something to catch any old fluid that comes out. Next, get an empty 1-quart container with a window on the side that's marked in ounces like you see here. This way you won't accidentally overfill the container as you perform the flush. Next, I'll place the cooler line inside the container and have someone else start the engine. I'll stop the engine when the container reaches 24 ounces, which will then finish filling to approximately 32 ounces or 1 quart. Okay, start. Okay, stop. As you can see, I just removed 1 quart of old fluid. Now I'll pour the 1 quart of old fluid into another container. Next I'll add 1 quart of new fluid back in. Continue repeating this procedure by flushing out 1 old quart and then adding 1 new quart back in. Once clean fluid comes out of the cooler line, reconnect the cooler line, make sure the transmission is filled to the proper level, and you're done. There is some debate out there as to whether or not you should flush an automatic transmission. Personally, I've been doing this on both older and newer vehicles for over 25 years, and I've never had a problem. I feel a lot better doing an automatic transmission flush because I know it's going to cause less wear by not leaving over half of the old fluid in the transmission. I hope you found this helpful, and if you like this video, please hit the like button below, share it with your friends, and please be sure to subscribe. God bless you and have a great day. Bye for now.